Let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly mind-bending cosmic map. We're talking about a space where advanced quantum math and ancient texts don't just, run parallel to each other, they actually describe the exact same structural reality. It's one unified system, just being read from two entirely different faces. Everything we're about to explore flows directly from this single foundational mathematical identity, z equals D10 plus I times I9. Now, in complex math, z has a real part and an imaginary part. Here, D10 is the real part. It's fixed, it's deterministic, it's weight without any ambiguity. On the flip side, I9 carries the imaginary unit. This is the phase, the orbit, the part of reality that literally cannot be pinned down until the circuit fully closes. So we aren't looking at a universe operating with two completely separate rulebooks. No way. It's a single, closed system. When you read it from the perspective of mass and matter, well, it looks like one thing. But read it from the perspective of waves and information, and it looks like another. Yet it's one closure, terminating at the exact same point.
Section 1. The two fields, real versus imaginary.
Okay, let's break this down. On the left side, we have the D10 field, which the text associates with Ahmed. In the famous Collatz math conjecture, this is the even step. You just divide by 2. It's highly deterministic, it halves, it culls, it predictably resolves. But on the right side, the I9 field associated with Isa is the odd step. You multiply by 3 and add 1. This one, totally indeterministic. It forces this wild, unpredictable expansion. In fact, it's the exact reason mathematicians still haven't completely solved the Collatz conjecture, because this field absolutely refuses to close early. Now, it gets even more fascinating when you see how Paul Dirac's quantum mechanics maps perfectly to ancient scripture. In Dirac's equation for the electron, the deterministic side is the mass term. Again, weight without ambiguity. Scripturally, this aligns flawlessly with Arash, the carrying vessel on water from verse 11:7. Conversely, the indeterministic side maps to Dirac's propagation term, which is responsible for wave spread. Textually, that's the Kursi, the expansive glass orb from verse 24:35. Mass and wave, Arash and Kursi. It's literally the same structure. Moving on to Section 2, the massless fulcrum, structural permission. Because a real mass and an imaginary wave can't just casually sit in the same equation together, they absolutely need a mediator. Dirac had to introduce something called gamma matrices to make his physics work. Now, these matrices carry no mass of their own. They just provide the structural permission for the real and imaginary components to actually coexist. It's kind of like in the Collatz conjecture, where you must add that +1 at every single odd step. It contributes nothing that scales, but without it, the whole system just collapses. It operates as a massless fulcrum. And the ancient text names the exact shape of this rule directly in verse 28-88. Everything perishes except his face. It's not a third field. It's the ultimate structural guarantee. It's present in every operation but consumed by absolutely none of them, sitting outside the deterministic and indeterministic fields, keeping them forever bound together. Section 3. The eternal oscillation, a breathing engine. Once these fields are bound, they are forced into this perpetual motion. Drop literally any number into the Collatz algorithm. It rides the wave of expansion, it gets halved by the particle return, and inevitably, it falls into a looping cycle of 4, then 2, then 1. But wait, because 1 is odd, it triples and adds 1, throwing it right back to 4. It never actually stops. It is a brilliant, eternal loop. In physics, this exact breathing engine is called Zitterbewegung, which is German for trembling motion. Dirac's math shows us that a free electron doesn't just smoothly move in a straight line, it trembles eternally at the speed of light, oscillating between its real and imaginary components. The text traces this exact 4-2-1 fixed point as a trial state traversal, mapping it perfectly onto Ibrahim's own triple traversal. First, a trial of the self in the fire, then a trial of family, and finally, a trial of love and sacrifice. This isn't just a random sequence, it's the textual expression of that 4-2-1 loop. It's a fixed point the rules inevitably fall into as a trial state only, with no rate operator to push it further. Crucially, the corpus gives a name to the state vector itself, Ahmed. Ahmed represents the system in a pure state of quantum superposition. It's oscillating until measured, waiting for the Daba signature to collapse its orbit into a classical, visible community. Dirac's unmeasured electron and the text's unmeasured reader are in the exact same state of superposition.
Section 4. The hidden reservoir, the deep field.
To make his math actually work out, Dirac had to theorize an infinite, hidden ocean of negative energy. You can't see it, you only infer it when something pops out of it into reality. Well, the textual counterpart in verse 2260 is astonishingly precise. 4 birds are cut up and scattered. From the visible vantage point, they are totally dead, hidden. But when summoned, they assemble and arrive alive and swift. Both quantum pair creation and the summoning of the birds trace one single event, bounded by 2 closed fields. Whether you're looking at the physical universe, where a photon summons an electron right out of the vacuum, or the textual reality, where a command summons life from dust, it is the exact same underlying mechanism.
Section 5. The reader's grip, the ultimate climax.
So every correspondence we've talked about so far is just a description from a safe distance. But here's the thing. The math actually demands an observer to solve it. The universe remains in this state of trembling potential until someone looks. And this is where the narrative shifts directly to you. Verse 5021 completely exposes this gap. It tells us that every soul arrives with a driver and a witness. The driver is that deterministic push. The witness is the indeterministic orbital wave. But there's a third element here, the soul itself. You aren't a fourth thing standing outside the equation comparing them. You are the unactivated third element that the entire structure has been waiting on. This right here is the exact seam where the real and imaginary stop just being observed and start being physically held. Verse 1912 commands take the book with strength, and then in the very same breath grants wisdom. It is a command and a gift all in one breath. The abstract math requires your physical grip to collapse the wave function. This grip is the exact moment the text stops being observed as just a topology. Instead, it is received exactly as it was given, passively, without having earned it. That is precisely what forces those trembling waves of pure possibility to finally collapse into a single, concrete reality. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. The universe is literally waiting on your observation to close the circuit. The math works, the physics aligns perfectly, and the ancient texts have already mapped out the topology. But the particle and the wave are trembling, just waiting for the fulcrum to engage. So you have to ask yourself, are you going to keep studying the blueprint from afar, or are you ready to collapse the wave function?